thought I'd start with a bit of George Floyd. Obviously, we all know. I say we all know. I guess we all know in this room. Obviously, the court case has started. So far, they've gone through witnesses. I think they include the firefighter who was there, the MMA fighter who was there, like a 61-year-old bystander, the store clerk from the shop. Obviously, they showed up all the lead up to, how he got arrested in the first place. The two friends who were with George. I didn't even realize, there's two friends with George Floyd at the time, like a girl and a geezer.
Are they the ones recording or something?
Nah, they were with him in the car at the start.
rolling with him
In the car. Obviously, we were in the shop with him as well, so there's a bit more to the actual story of it as well. Exactly. Obviously, there was 4 minors at the time as well. So there was a 7-year-old girl at the time that was recording, obviously with the viral video girl as well. So they've called all of them people. They haven't actually called the friend and the two friends. One of the guy who was with, he's actually said he was going to be his voice, and he's now turned around and said he's going to plead the fifth. So he's rejected being called as a witness. So that, I guess, maybe he doesn't want to self-incriminate.
On what? I thought the note wasn't fake, so there's nothing to incriminate themselves on.
What they're saying is obviously there's evidence of obviously drugs in his system. So who's George Floyd's system. So obviously I can only assume that the guy is obviously saying he wants to plead the fifth based on potentially what he was involved in.
Yeah,
he might be on parole or something like that. Or
if the prosecution then starts
drilling down. Why were you on drugs?
Exactly, and what makes
drugs?
What makes it more?
But he might have swallowed the package.
So this is what's all being said potentially. What makes it worse? He dipped out the area as well. The guy he dipped out and went to some next day or Texas or something. I can't remember. That's where he dipped off when they tried to call him.
So wasn't you on drugs that day? We found your blood samples and
a bit sticky. I'm more thinking if someone's told him not to. I don't want to hypothesize.
Yeah, but listen,
that could be very much the case.
Pressure on these man,
But yeah,
more damage than good.
But yeah, saying they called the paramedics. The paramedics are saying that they were that to tell the police officer to come off him at certain stages. They're obviously wanting to do resuscitation methods. Obviously, as it says, there was a firefighter there who obviously was on the scene. You seen the video?
Yeah. What about the MMA fighter? The way the defense went at him.
They tried to paint him out as an angry person, and they're actually trying to paint out the whole crowd as an angry mob.
So that's why they had to
defense stance
almost. That's why they had to keep their knee on his neck.
That's what they're trying to paint.
Because these guys were driving them up.
But what they failed to understand, they failed to acknowledge that none of the mob tried to
do anything to the police. Exactly.
All they did was the most they did was pull out a cellular.
And furthermore,
So
there was 4 minors there. There was a 7-year-old girl. You can try. Yeah, there was a 7-8-year-old
like
girl.
Though, this culture of we're gonna help by filming it. Does that need to stop?
No.
I think in this circumstance,
because them guys did that, right. But if they were probably more proactive, I'm not blaming them in any way, shape, or form. But maybe if it was more proactive,
get involved.
Yeah, like it was the same thing with the.
Go on.
Actually, I don't know. You might mention it in a minute.
No. Oh, okay, maybe.
The Uber thing.
No, I'm not gonna mention that.
The Uber thing where everyone took out their phones instead of someone pull these little youths out of the car and say, "Yo, what are you doing?" Everyone took out their phones and film my man dying.
I mean, look. There are certain people in society that will get involved in it, but the majority of society, let's be honest, they're not going to get involved.
I think in that circumstance, there would be less that they could have then done if they didn't have video evidence.
Yeah.
I know.
Because it's the police as well.
That's what I'm saying.
A man that would have got involved with just general 2 people just having a go.
Having it out, that's different, isn't it?
You might have
I know, it is slightly different.
But the police and the way they're going on, you had the Asian police officer who was there like back up 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was for you to get involved in that. It was a bit
sticky.
Yeah, but sometimes we have to take the hit man. Like, yo, okay, I have to get arrested today.
Yeah,
well,
but in that moment, he wasn't just getting arrested. They was killing a man.
Remember,
you could be the next person.
Yeah, I know.
With the knee on the neck.
Remember,
especially if you're black, it would have been worse because you're actually now trying to attack them.
Exactly.
Floyd wasn't even trying to attack man.
He was complicit in being arrested. You know the ones.
It's interesting.
It was acceptable.
The evidence that they've got, all the video footage that they've got, as it says, they've got loads. They've got the body cams for all the officers. Interestingly enough, the body cam for the main officer fell off in the process and went underneath the car.
How convenient.
Underneath the car, face down. So that's interesting enough. But they've obviously got.
Nah, hold on.
I don't. And that was what I was gonna say. I don't think they need that based on the fact that they've got 3 other officers.
Because that would have gave more of a close up of George.
You see anyway on the other guys' body cams.
But yeah, I heard, and I seen the clip here, right, where they're talking to his supervisor when he went to the supervisor on the thingy.
Yeah.
And he said basically, and they say it's protocol.
Yeah.
When he started to talk to him about what's happened after George Floyd was gone, and he turned off his body camera. But he said the captain told him to.
Supposedly that's protocol.
I don't know.
Supposedly. However, funny enough, when you talk about his thing, that they called that the sergeant, because remember that if you record a story, the 911 dispatcher who sent the people to the scene, she actually snitched on the police officer at the scene because they could see on video cameras or whatever else. So she snitched on the police officer's sergeant. So that same sergeant, they've called him to testify, and he's basically turned out and said in court now that at the point of him not being resisting arrest, they would have advised or should have taken off
the pressure.
In that sense, that's what his supervisor said. He's now retired, so he changed much, but that's what now he's now said.
Just, let's be honest.
Forced into retirement.
Yeah.
They've said
So-
you better give us your badge.
Actually, don't get your pension.
Yeah, you
pension's
better
big
go on
over
your
there.
own sword right now.
So it's looking interesting.
Otherwise, no pension.
I don't know which way. Obviously, there's 3 charges for him. There's
So what are the charges?
I think from what I remember, there's 2 murder charges and a manslaughter charge.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Second degree and third degree murder, innit?
and I think they're trying to they're putting the 3rd degree murder charge because that's the easiest to prove in regards to how that sort of scenario goes. But
I don't suppose you know what the
Sentencing for that
since
is.
it's not at the moment now. I have to double check. Yeah, I haven't got the time.
3rd degree murder, something like that.
It could be.
It wouldn't
something
surprise
like
me in America, but it might be less. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be something like that. But
Third degree over here is like 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah. I've been watching it. I'm not gonna. I've been watching like majority of each day of the course. It's pretty interesting in a way.
I think they will convict him of something.
Yeah, just to please. It could be manslaughter.
There's enough for me. There's enough evidence because, as it says, the sergeant,
it's
the
firefighters,
the paramedics are all saying at some stage.
It is.
The
on the basis of it.
Hold on.
I'm just saying. It's just to add on. Really,
like to say it's open and shut case, but
you can't be sure, innit?
No. I'm not saying guaranteed, but I'm saying
in your eyes.
From what we've seen, right? Like we've all seen it's not like it can be argued that he never had your knee on the back of his neck. And that he wasn't resisting after a while. I don't know what was happening beforehand. But he wasn't resisting for 7 minutes, at least for 7 minutes of that, he wasn't resisting.
But this what I'm saying. It's the prosecution's stance on it because they're saying everybody that they're now calling are saying, you know, there was a point where you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So at that point, there was people. As it says, there was a firefighters, who's an EMT, so
and she was saying,
check his pulse, check his pulse, check his pulse. He's not responding. Check his pulse, check his pulse. When the paramedics then came, they were checking his pulse while my man was still on his neck. So there's a lot of evidence that points towards doing a bit more than what he should have necessarily done. Furthermore, on top of that, I'm supposedly there's things around it being training in regards to actually holding him in position that it was, but there's a point that
you have to release.
There's a bit of grey area in regards to how that sort of works out. So
I think he's definitely going to get charged with something. I think he's going to do time.
Yeah.
Because they're paid out. Just looking now, you can
27 mil.
27 million. His family's been paid out 27 million.
Yeah.
Really?
What state is that?
Minneapolis state. That's the state though. That's nothing to do with that one. That was before. So I guess that indicates
they're not going to pay that out. And
but they've done that with loads
my man out.
but they've done that with loads of
people. It is different. I will say that. I was going to mention that. It is.
She's got absolutely no justice.
Yeah.
So the money thing is neither here nor there in America.
It is different. It is.
What I was going to say to you is, I know you said you've watched snippets, but did you listen to the opening statement?
Yeah.
So what is their angle?
Their defense is that there was the angry mob. The police acted in a way where they felt threatened and they needed to try and control the crowd, and they got distracted in regards to holding my man down on the floor.
Who's that?
And the hold is what they was taught as well.
For Derek Chauvin. What he was taught and
in training.
In training. That's what their defense.
That's what the hold is.
Was a technique that would they commonly use?
That's what their defense is. That I don't think
commonly used on blacks.
I don't think they've got to the point where they're actually explaining what the hold should be, because as it says, there's a grey area in regards to what the hold should be, and I think it's something like the fact that it's with necessary force, but then there's a point where you then don't need necessary force because obviously the circumstances
It's
change.
controlled. You're in control.
Yeah.
Exactly. They teach them about things that can happen in regards to holding someone in a prone position, which is obviously what he was. He was obviously flat on his stomach, holding him in a prone position, and at the nearest possible time to roll on his side. There was 2 police officers. I think there's one police officer who said twice, "Should we roll him on his side?" And the guy said no.
Yeah, but the fact is, when you look at the footage, they're all over his body anyway. All of them. There's about 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, because there
was 3 on him. There was 3 on him. One in his neck, one in his back, and then one in his legs.
Like, why do you need to nail a man in his legs?
We're so
if he's
dangerous.
already in handcuffs, and a man's on his neck, and a man's on his back. Why do you need to now say, you know what? Let me just apply pressure on his leg. Who does that? A wicked person. It's wicked.
I mean, me looking at the video, obviously you go back and watch it now. He's a big person. He's 6'4". He's 220 pounds. Obviously, that struggle. When you look at the video, that struggle, he was not complying in regards to getting in the vehicle, getting out his own vehicle, getting in their vehicle. He wasn't complying. He squirmed out the car and got out the other side. So I can imagine that being a struggle for police officers. That's just for anyone. Yeah. However, it's what they done after that moment.
Yeah,
that's what
he's now in handcuffs.
You get what I'm saying? That's where
the situation changes. I think the power position changes once you've got the cuffs on him. Now I'm in control because no matter what he does, he's got no hands.
They said
he's got no hands.
The police officer said, "Should we roll him inside?" I've checked his pulse. I think he's passed out. They've mentioned all this stuff on, so you hear it on the body cam. So there's a lot of things.
He couldn't.
He said he's still. When someone from the crowd said he's not breathing, he is breathing because he's still speaking.
But then that's what I'm saying. Even after, remember, people can get resuscitated. Obviously, once after they stop breathing. So even when you realize someone's not breathing, you do what you can.
You flip him into the recovery position,
and you start chest compressions or resuscitate. So none of that happened, regardless of them calling the paramedics. None of that happened.
Okay, so you've answered the defense.
So that's the defense.
What's the prosecution saying?
So I think I've more or less touched on it. But the prosecution is the fact that he's used excessive force that wasn't necessary. They didn't sort of do anything to sort of maintain life or bring back life and stuff like that.
He didn't care, man. He was doing it with such a his face
callous.
His face just didn't give it. He had his hands in his pocket at one stage, didn't he?
Again,
that's a first degree thing. I mean, my thing is this. When was they?
He was on his knees, but it's the same thing.
They've got him in handcuffs. Yeah, he's down there. Yeah. He's struggling, whatever. When was they gonna just put him in the back of the police car?
But
that wasn't the aim. The aim was for him to go home in a hearse.
I'm thinking.
So they've put him in the handcuffs. Surely the next thing is get in the back of the car. We go to the station.
Yeah. Considering that there's a mob over here, why would you stay in that position
for that long? 8 minutes. What was the point in that?
So from what I can take from the video, they tried to put him in the car. He squirmed out the other side of the car and put. So they had him in handcuffs from the other side of the road. Walked him across to the road to their car. They tried to put him in the car and he wasn't going in. They got him in the car and he squirmed out the other side.
But is he running at this point, or is he just walking?
He's in handcuffs. He's still in all of this point. So from the point from his car.
Remember that? He was in handcuffs, sitting on the floor by the shop or something like that.
So they handcuffed him by his car, took him out of his car, handcuffed him, sat him down, picked him up, walked him across the road. Correct?
Yeah.
Walked him across the road to their car, tried to put him in their car, was resisting, got him in the car. He squirmed his way out the car, and then so they said, you know what, let's just take him out and put him on the floor.
To do what though?
So
there was I'm guessing they was gonna wait for maybe a van to then put him in, maybe back.
The van never came.
But this is what I'm saying. So
paramedics came.
No, that's because of the situation.
For me, at that point, the plan changed for them Jakes to murder.
They
this dude now.
They already called ambulance. From what we're hearing, they already called ambulance. It was a level 2, which means obviously they just need a bit of assistance with the person acting erratically. Then he got upgraded to a level 3, which means they need emergency assistance.
So at what point? Obviously, I don't know if you got into the.
Yeah, go on.
After a lot of you can see.
It's
a detailed thing, but okay. So it was 7 minutes he was on the floor.
It was 9 minutes.
8 minutes 46 seconds.
So 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That's the whole period.
Yeah. Okay.
But so you say in regards on the floor.
With the knee.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this level 2 and level 3. Do they have the specific time they called that in?
I believe. I believe they do. I believe they suspected he was on something, which is why they called. Level 2
and
ambulance.
when they realized it was level 3, I assume
That's 7 minutes.
Still in the same position.
That's 7 minutes.
Is that why they just came and just threw him straight back in the van?
So that they've explained that as well. They call that what's it called, a drop and go or something like that, because of the scenario that it was in, and the fact that they needed to do it in a safer scenario. So they called that a load and go or something like that. So, however, as what Dick said, at some stage they realized that he needed emergency assistance, which is why they upgraded it. So why didn't they then do something themselves? That's what I'm lost.
So
I don't understand.
Quick wrap it up then. How long is the trial running for?
It could be a while.
They said they're ahead of schedule. The judges said they're ahead of schedule in regards to their witnesses. I think they might have a few more. They called his girlfriend at the time.
2-3 weeks.
Yeah. So it can potentially go on for longer. But yeah,
listen, they don't want no more. Floyd, they don't want no more riots.
They have to find him guilty.
Yeah.
R.I.P. George Floyd.
And then it's the other cops. We have to wait for the other three to go because they're accessories to murder.
I bet you £20 they don't get.
Yeah, no.
I think potentially there might be something.
We've got a scapegoat in him. They're like,
you're gonna feed him. Yeah, we're gonna feed him.
We'll sacrifice that one.
Yeah.
The rest is
too clear.
What about that? That's a joint enterprise as far as I can see.
They would see it, innit?
If you kill someone and us three is with you, we're all going.
That's just the way